The Haitian Revolution occurred from 1791 to 1804. It happened in the French colony Saint-Domingue, which is now known as Haiti. The Haitian Revolution would go on to be the only successful slave revolt in history, ultimately leading to the creation of Haiti as the first independent black republic. It was a powerful example of resistance, courage, and the fight for freedom, and its impact is still remembered today.
In the colony of Saint-Domingue, society was divided, but not united. Four groups struggled for power, rights, and freedom. So let's see who they were. The white planters were part of roughly 40,000 white residents in Haiti. They had no interest in revolting against slavery. In fact, quite the opposite. The plantation system was the source of their wealth and power, so they had every reason to defend it and nothing to gain from dismantling it. The Petits Blancs were also a part of the 40,000 white people in Haiti. They were your typical working class, with most of them being artisans, shopkeepers, and teachers. While they did participate in the revolution, their fight was not to abolish slavery from French colonial rule, but rather to fight for their own inclusion within the government of Haiti because they did not have much. The free black people were estimated at around 30,000 and were half black and half Malto. Their class varied widely because some were even wealthier than the white Petit Blancs. Despite this, they were denied basic rights, and what they wanted was civil rights and political equality as promised under the Declaration of the Rights of Man. They eventually joined the enslaved people in revolution to pursue racial equality, united by their shared African descent. The enslaved people were the largest group of the Haitian Revolution, estimated at around 500,000 individuals. All of African descent, they held the lowest possible social and economical status. Forced into brutal plantation labor, they grew sugar, coffee, indigo, and cotton for French colonial profit. Among them were runaway slaves, known as Maroons, who had already escaped the plantation and formed their own free communities in the mountains. These two groups together were the core of the revolution, revolting the most out of any other group.
To understand why this revolution happened, it's important to look at what life was like in Saint Domingue before the uprising. At the time, Saint Domingue was one of the most profitable slave colonies in the world, producing vast amount of sugar, coffee, and other profitable goods. However, it also had one of the most brutal slave systems in the world. By the 19th century, enslaved people made up around 90% of the population, and most of them were African born. Life on plantations was extremely harsh, and many enslaved people died to the terrible conditions. They couldn't defend themselves or fight back, as one of the laws in the Code Noir states: "The slave who has struck his master, his mistress, or the husband of his mistress, or their children shall be punished by death." This meant that if a slave attacked their enslavers, they could be executed. Since society in Saint-Domingue was divided into four main groups, each of these groups faced their own frustrations. The white planters wanted more independence from France. The Petits Blancs demanded social equality with the elites. Free people of color fought for full citizenship and equal rights. Most importantly, the enslaved people wanted to end slavery altogether. This tension between the groups created a very unstable society. In 1791, the French National Assembly granted full citizenship to some people of color, but only to people under very specific conditions, such as they had to be born of free parents. This decision angered many Petit Blancs, leading to violent conflicts between them and free people of color. These conflicts made the situation even more chaotic. All of these factors combined led to a massive uprising. Enslaved people and those of mixed race began to rise up against their oppressors in 1791. One of the most important leaders of this revolt was Toussaint Louverture. Louverture organized the formerly enslaved people into a disciplined and effective army, capable of fighting against French troops and other opposing forces. He created a constitution in 1801 that stated, "There cannot exist slaves on this territory. Servitude is therein forever abolished. All men are born, live, and die free and French." This established a new rule. Slavery was abolished and freedom was declared for all people in Saint Domingue.
August 21st, 1791, the enslaved people reached a full-on rebellion that lasted until 1792. This rebellion also controlled a third of the island, and after some time, the enslaved people defeated the French, Spanish, and British forces. The final battle was the famous Battle of Vertières, and it was fought on November 18th, 1803, where Dessalines defeated the French, which is considered a big deal because they were fighting against French colonial rule that ultimately controlled them. Formerly enslaved, Toussaint Louverture was a prominent military leader during the Haitian Revolution and was recognized as a French general and constructed a very powerful military. Louverture also strategically switched alliances, first allied with Spain, then France, in 1794 when France abolished slavery.
Following the alliance with France in 1794, Haiti's military leader at the time, Toussaint Louverture, had himself named Governor-General for life. Between that point and 1801, he had put the peasants back to work under military rule. He was then captured in December of 1801 by Napoleon. This was done in hopes of him being able to maintain control of the island and thus attempted to restore the old regime and bring Europe back into control. As such, Toussaint was imprisoned and brought to France, where he later died on the 7th of April, 1803. Following the imprisonment of Toussaint Louverture and the break of the alliance between Haiti and France, Toussaint's lieutenants Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henri Christophe resumed the war against France in 1802. They were joined by other mulatto leaders who were also furious over France's reestablishment of slavery in Guadeloupe and Martinique. Following the revolution, French King Charles X agreed to formally recognize Haiti as an independent nation if the country paid them 150 million francs in response to the change Haiti had went through from first being a French slave colony to being a more independent nation. However, because of the war, Haiti was now under severe international isolation and economic struggles. In 1838, France had reduced the debt from 150 million francs to 90 million francs, with the final payment being made 150 years after Haiti's independence in 1947. Today, the Haitian Revolution continues to inspire social justice movements around the world, and the revolution's emphasis on the power of gathered action and the importance of challenging opposing systems remains quite relevant today. These long term effects contribute to modern problems like poverty, political instability, and also gang violence. As a result, many Haitians struggle with limited access to food, healthcare, education, and safety, even though they continue to show resilience and push for change.